The heavy weapons guy. The Heavy for short. He's the mascot for TF2, the guy with the minigun. He's the game's only tank, with the largest amount of health. He's got the ability to shred enemies with his minigun. He's perfect for holding points and defending objectives. This is offset by neutering his offensive capabilities by making him the slowest class in the game. So how is he in medieval mode, a game type where he's restricted to only these weapons and melees? More specifically, how good are these weapons? Same ranking criteria as always. It's going to be the loadout synergy, team synergy, and 1v1 potential with random crits enabled. Without his minigun, the heavy weapons guy is just Guy. So how well does Guy do? Let's find out. To no one's surprise, the Fists of Steel are the Heavy's worst weapon to use in medieval mode. These gloves holster twice as slowly as stock. It gives minus 40% health from healers, has 40% less overheal, and worst of all, he takes 100% more damage from melees. All of this just for taking 40% less damage from ranged sources. The gloves in medieval mode boil down to just two stats, as the rest aren't a big factor. So the stats to focus on are the resistance to ranged damage and the increased damage for melees. The ranged damage reduction is nice, but you'll only take advantage of this very rarely, since only the Huntsman and Crusader's crossbow are the only sources of the ranged damage. The Sandman and Rap Assassin balls don't count in the game's code, since it still considers the projectile a melee hit. Sure, you get some resistance versus two classes, but you take twice as much damage versus any other class in medieval mode for basically no upside. I'm giving these fists the Mr. Crocker treatment, F tier. If you wanted to play the Fat Scout in medieval mode, here's your weapon. The Eviction Notice swings 40% faster, lets the Heavy move 15% faster, and you gain a speed boost on hit. Right now the weapon looks really good, but take a look at the downsides. It deals 60% less damage than stock, and your health drains when you hold the weapon out. The damage penalty means you deal a base damage of 26, which is even worse than Scout's melees. If anything, on second thought, it's closer to letting the Heavy be a pyro with a hot hand than it is for a medieval Fat Scout. This weapon lets you float like a butterfly, but you sting like one too. Getting kills is difficult, and the speed boost isn't worth it. Easy D tier. Similarly to the Eviction Notice, the Gloves of Running Urgently lets the Heavy move faster. With these gloves, you gain a speed boost of 30%, which lets you run as fast as the Pyro, NG, and the Sniper. In exchange for this amazing upside, your health also progressively drains to 100 HP. Another downside is the 50% holster speed, but that's not really notable since it barely comes up. The health drain is what sinks this weapon to C tier, since it's a big issue due to the lack of survivability you get. It's still usable though, as the extra speed lets you catch up with most classes in this game type, plus it has no damage penalty, so you could still do well swinging these boxing gloves. Making the Heavy a bit squishier though is still a notable downside. $65 base damage and 195 crit damage. You think that's all I'm gonna say though, right? Nah. The stock fists have a taunt kill, and the taunt's got some good range. It could be good for last holds on the final point. That's all. Just the ability to make any woman happy by practicing your finger bank skills. B tier. The weakest of Heavy's lunchbox items, the chocolate bar. It grants the Heavy plus 50 extra max health. That's it. Although it's better to have a secondary than to not have one at all, so you really aren't handicapping yourself too much. But the slot is better reserved for other items. You could drop it as a small health kit to be supportive in battle. However, there's already tons of those around the map. Either way, B tier. This part of the tier list was difficult for me to rank because this weapon and the next ones are all very good in their own regards. The Holiday Punch is the first of Heavy's staple weapons for medieval mode. It has the same base damage as stock, but has 3 very interesting stats. You can backstab people with the mittens. The mittens deal guaranteed crits from behind, and it also forces any Heavy also using this weapon to laugh. You can pretend all of your enemies are Tickle Me Elmo dolls, and tickle them to open them up. With this weapon, you deal 0 damage for crits, but instead you tickle them. What that means is that you force the enemy into the laughing taunt. This taunt plays for 5 seconds, which is forever in a game. Believe me, 5 seconds is all I need in game or in bed. Anyways, this item has great supportive value since backstabbing enemies or hitting them with crits mean that the target can't fight back for 5 seconds. This opens up enemies to your team. It lets them secure kills while you set them up. The only issue with this is that if a target is a disguised spy or an airborne enemy, they won't be put into the taunt. In short, Elmo's fists let the heavy deal guaranteed crits from behind, crits force enemies to laugh, any heavy using the weapon will be forced to laugh it hit by another holiday punch, but crits do no damage. A final note is that these gloves could taunt kill as well, so just another added utility. It's a very good weapon, suitable for A tier.
Sniper Monkey.
Just like the Delocus bar, the second banana drops a small health kit and you can give it to teammates. It has a fast recharge rate, and it lets you heal 200 HP when eating it. It has great team value and great self-sustainability. The faster recharge rate lets you be a fat medic to your team too. Unleash your inner monkey. This might be surprising to see the Warrior Spirit show up so early in the medieval tier list. The Warrior Spirit allows the heavy to deal 30% more damage and get plus 50 health on kill. The downside of the right to bear arms, or bare fists I guess, is a 30% damage vulnerability. It's a very simple item, but the damage vulnerability hurts the heavy survivability, and the 50 health on kill is nice, but like I said several times, the map is always littered with health kits. It's a solid weapon for medieval mode, don't get me wrong. You could one-shot kunai spies with your base damage, and you could one-shot fully maxed Eyelander demos with a random crit. It crosses amazing thresholds. It's the heavy's equivalent to the Scotsman Skullcutter. This weapon would be an S tier if the heavy's last melee didn't exist. For the last item of A tier, the Sandwich. It's heavy's honorary default secondary. You eat it to heal back to full health, and you could drop it to teammates as a medium health kit. It has amazing supportive use, and it allows the heavy to top off his health if he can't reach the resupply cabinet. The issue with this lunchbox item is that you have to eat this after battle, like the second banana. So you have to choose the perfect spot to have your own picnic, otherwise that sandwich is going to be your last meal. But when you are able to heal with this weapon, it's a lifesaver. This weapon, in my opinion, is better than the banana, due to the medium health packs you could throw. All in all, the sandwich is always a solid pick, no matter the game type. This is no surprise. The buffalo steak sandwich is the heavy's staple for medieval mode. Once eaten, it increases the heavy's movement speed by 30%, which is the same as the average class's walking speed. It also gives the heavy guaranteed mini crits on his melee for 16 seconds, but he takes 20% more damage. Yes, the damage vulnerability is a pain, like the Warrior Spirit, but the consistency of higher damage paired with the speed boost is way too good to pass up. It lets a stock heavy deal a minimum of 88 damage, or Warrior Spirit heavy to deal 114. Being able to do damage comparable to a shotgun meat shot is an amazing ability in medieval. One final positive that this weapon has is that when dropped, it's a medium health kit, so it lets the heavy be an ultra supportive teammate by clearing enemies and by being a medic for the team in a fight. Easy S tier. For the heavy's best weapon in medieval mode, the Killing Gloves of Boxing is another staple you see many heavies run in this game type. The KGB has 2 stats. You swing 20% slower, but for every kill that you get with the item, you get guaranteed critical hits for 5 seconds. This is the equivalent to a spy chain stab for the heavy. You get one pick, and the dominoes all fall into place. You create so much space for you and your team, and you could either clear areas by forcing enemies away from you, or by straight up killing them. This gives your team momentum to push to either capture the point, or prevent any attackers from getting into the castle. These boxing gloves are the heavy's best weapon used in medieval mode. Straight up killing enemies in bunches while being unstoppable himself shows that the heavy is still a tank without his minigun. Here's the tier list of the heavy's best weapons to use in medieval mode. The heavy is a sleeper pick. His speed is the worst in the game, but when using the buffalo steak sandwich, it brings him up to average movement speed while still boosting his damage potential. Just like in the base game, he's a tank that holds the front line and clears up space for his team. With the KGB, the heavy could go on rampages to clear out sections of the map. Even without his minigun, the heavy still finds a way to shred enemies up close. Thank you guys for watching. Apologies for the length of time in between the last video and this one. I just had to do finals, so expect more consistent uploads now that I'm done with this semester. But up next is the engineer. See ya.